Hello, and welcome to the Muses Lab, your destination for all things spiritual, sensual, and pleasurable. Here I explore the nuances of our human experience, connect with practitioners to support your glow up, and share my lessons and blessings as perspective to move you closer to alignment and self-empowerment. I invite you to join me on this adventure of discovery, and hope what you receive inspires you to become the muse of your life's journey. So without further ado, let's explore. Hello, and welcome to the Muses Lab podcast. It's your girl, Siobhan L. I don't know how long this one is going to be, but I am just going to talk my thoughts out loud about this. I'm just going to say thing because that's what's coming to me. The vocabulary is there and then it's not there at the same time. This thing that I recognize that I do, that I now have language for. World building, and if you listen to the Thought Bubble podcast, which is specifically on Substack for me, I will have the link to my Substack in the show notes. If you listen to Thought Bubble, it's where I talk about my relationship with food. If you listen to that podcast, I mentioned world building. You may have heard about it, or you may be seeing it more often on the interwebs because it's becoming a thing. And it's the future, right? We want someone to come into our ecosystem. We want someone's community to be involved in our work, artistry, whatever we are trying to create. World building is the way to go. Things like the Marvel universe, the DC universe, Disney, Star Wars, all examples of world building. They have a core, a central nucleus, and they build extensions off of that. So world building is definitely going to be how we build community, how we create community, how we allow people to enter into our portal of what we do. I recognize that I have been world building adversely for at least the last decade. I have a TikTok where I talk about me recognizing that I'm the Scarlet Witch of my life. If you are into Marvel and have watched WandaVision, you know what I'm talking about. If you have watched Agatha all along, you know what I'm talking about. What I have done, it's so wild to just say this out loud. What I have done over bare minimum the last decade is I have created subconscious stories about what I think people think about me. You can call those self-fulfilling prophecies because that's what they are. So all of these self-fulfilling prophecy narratives were shaped and built and created and extended subconsciously in my mind about specific people in my life or just people in general. And because I built these narratives subconsciously, which are essentially self-fulfilling prophecies, I shaped this world and became immersed so deep. I pulled myself out of reality, told myself this is what these people or those people think about me, and isolated myself from multiple types of human interactions, building memories and moments with friends, people who are like sisters, people I've known for years, removed myself from building memories and moments with these people, and then said out loud, I'm alone. Well, yeah, you're alone, silly Billy, because who the fuck is in this world? Who the fuck is in this world with you but you? You created this world. You created this moment. I mean, at least WandaVision took over a fictitious section of New Jersey and co-opted a whole neighborhood and 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 roped the people into the world that she built, right? There is nobody with me in this world. And if I were to say these things out loud, people would be like, who told you that? No one told me anything. I don't even know what prompted me to create these stories. When I posted that TikTok, someone asked me, what did they say that activated you, that triggered you? And I was like, nothing. No one said anything. And at the time, I hadn't been able to recall a specific thing. I have an example. This is when I knew that I was world building and adverse. I have a friend of mine, and we've been up and down as far as like our relationship journey. Most of my girls, I know the relationship journey. I know what they've been through. I know the struggles that they've experienced, vice versa, right? We've all experienced hard falls together. So when they had found someone that had been in the mix for a while, but just they never paid attention to it. When they found someone that checked pretty much most of the boxes, they were extremely happy. They were extremely excited. And they came to me for a reading. And I mentioned, like, I don't see anything adverse happening at the time. I did not see anything negative happening, but I was like, keep your head on a swivel because someone or something is going to try to knock you off this pedestal. And you just need to be aware because people are talking. There are a lot of people that are not excited about you being happy with this person. So just keep your head on a swivel. A month later, something chaotic happened. I do not know what happened. And it was a very visceral response on social media and they broke up. And I reached out because people were messaging me, hey, did you see so and so, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, what are you talking about? I was chilling, sitting in my little living room area, drinking tea. Like I was just kind of removed from the space because I was tuning to myself. And once people reached out to me and asked me did I see what happened, I was like, no. I was like, oh my God, like what? What? So I reached out to that person and they didn't respond. Like, they left me on red. But another mutual friend of mine who hasn't known my friend as long, she responded to that text. And I was like, oh, hmm, well, I guess she done with me. I jumped. I guess she done with me because, like, why would you not respond to me? Like, did I do something? Blah, 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 blah. So I'm going all through this emotional phase. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm done. Fast forward, I respond to a post on one of the apps. And it was like, "Ooh, catch up." I was so confused. I was so confused because I thought due to the fact that they didn't respond to me reaching out to them to check on them and to make sure that they were okay, that I got cut off. Yes, I absolutely jumped to conclusion, went on a tangent, didn't even follow up. I was like, fuck it, I'm not responding. It's nothing, blah, 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 blah. Like, I messaged them more than once and I got left on red. So I just was like, fuck it. So to have that response, not even just, girl, we got to catch up. Like, I've been invited to certain events and it was like, I appreciate your friendship. And I just was so confused. And in that moment, I realized I created that narrative. Like, yes, it was activated by being left on red. But of course, I never circled back and I never asked, like, hey, you left me on red. I thought like we wasn't good. Like, I didn't even confirm. I didn't even confirm whether or not that was the case. Maybe she was overwhelmed. And maybe there was a reflection on the reading and she didn't want to talk to me. That happens, right? And people just need space because she was very much into this person and she believed that this was the guy. Like, this was him. This was her husband. Like, she believed that. And to invest so much time with this person and for them to react the way that they did and for her response to that to be very public and very visceral, I know that, it's embarrassing. I get that. And the last thing I said to her was like, you gotta keep your head on a swivel. So sure, maybe she needed space, but I absolutely created the narrative based on being left on red. I created the narrative that this person no longer wanted anything to do with me, didn't like me, wanted to remove me from the friend circle, only to find out I was completely wrong. And I started to build a world around that. That's not the first time I've done that, clearly. And I have been strong and wrong every single time. And because no one else knows that I've created this narrative in my subconscious, I can't go, oh, I thought you wasn't like fucking with me. I thought you didn't like me, or I thought, you had an issue with me. I can't say that because one, they're probably not even going to remember the situation. And two, they don't even know what I'm talking about. They don't even know how I got there. Like, the point of entry is like so distant from me. I created this world around this activation point and I built an entire story in my head around this activation point, placed it as part of my ecosystem with this person, and then I excommunicated myself from the friend relationship. That's crazy. I know we're not supposed to say that, but that is. Like, what? I can't even tell you what mechanism in my brain that does this. I don't know where it begins. I don't know how it started. I mean, maybe if I did like some hypnotherapy or somebody talked me through this and we just went back, there's something in my childhood that activated this point, right? But I have no idea why I'm here. I have no idea. I have no clue why I'm here. I don't know what brought me here. I do not have a point of origin of what caused me to start doing these self-fulfilling prophecies and building worlds around it. Like, I have my own little world building Bible about how to navigate certain relationships, or what I think people think about me. And those things don't even exist. And now here I am at this big age having to deconstruct the world that I built. It's really giving WandaVision. And the thing is, it's like, at least we know Wanda built this world based on her grief, right? She didn't want to let Vision go. Vision died, and she created this world because she did not know how to process her grief. We know that, right? I don't know why I do this. I don't know why I build these worlds. I don't know why I have these self-fulfilling prophecies. I don't know why I tell myself people think this way about me when they've never said that and they've never really given me an inkling to feel that way. I don't know why when I have conversations with people and I stand firm on business, I automatically assume that they're going to dislike me or have a visceral reaction to me or argue with me. I don't know why I do that, but I can say anxiety is part of a root because that's what I'm feeling right now as I'm talking about it. So I can acknowledge that it's the anxiety talking, but I do not know why when I have interactions with other human beings, I automatically assume the worst. I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. In every facet of my life, I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And it could be because I've been in survival mode so much. It could be that. It could be because I don't expect good things to happen to me because good things haven't happened to me often. It could be that. It could be all of those things. All of those things could be the reason why my thought process goes there. But what I know is that deconditioning myself from self-fulfilling prophecies and building worlds around scenarios that I create in my head is really going to be the greatest challenge I have with deconditioning myself from habits that place me in a position to cause harm unintentionally. When we think about self-harm, we only think about it in terms of like physical harm. We don't think about how our mind can cause us self. We don't think about how our subconscious is a very strong space. It's a very strong tool. It's a powerful tool. That's how we're able to manifest, right? But as my girl Ashia Satu says, you can manifest back. And I will speak for myself and say that I have been manifesting backwards for a very long time and wondering why my life is unfolding the way that it is unfolding and not recognizing that these self-fulfilling prophecies, these scenarios that I create in my head, these narratives that I write. I'm actually a really good fiction writer in real life, but the fiction in my head is horrible. These fiction narratives that I create have been in resistance to the work that I am doing to rewire and retrain my brain to put positive first. Like, my brain doesn't automatically do positive first. My brain automatically does worry first because I've been in a state of worry for so long. And in the last episode, when I talk about the healing gap in dating, I talk about the importance of men in particular, just people in general, but definitely men in particular who I am in, whether it's romantic or platonic, but I'm in relationship with, being direct with me. And of course, the stigma that women don't know how to handle the truth. But as a person living with ADHD, I need that because disappointment, grief, shame, and rejection are my defaults. Horrible. But because that has been the core of myself for so long, I know how to navigate that. That's the only good thing that's come out of disappointment, grief, shame, and rejection being core emotions that I identify with. The only good thing that has come from that is that I know how to navigate it. Otherwise, that is a horrible space to be in 24/7. But that has been me for a very long time. So because I know how to navigate disappointment, shame, grief, and rejection, I would prefer directness so that I can process it immediately and not process it later. Because if I have to process that later, that's going to shift me in a direction and change my psyche in a way that I can't get back. But if I'm able to process it immediately, I can synthesize that information and pivot. And it's not going to change my psyche because I've dealt with it. And it's not going to affect me long term. It'll affect me short term, but it's not going to affect me long term. But prolonging me navigating those emotions is going to fuck with my psyche. Because the first thing I'm going to think about is, why didn't you just allow me to experience that in a moment so that I could parse through that, so I could cycle through that? Because now it's going to take me longer to cycle through it because there's other things attached to that, right? So I say that because backwards manifestation has been my default. I'm not recognizing the resistance that I'm experiencing, and it's causing me to spiral. It's causing me to have this very angered reaction with, why can't I get myself together? Why can't I pull myself out of this negative space? And that is because this crazy world that I have built is so strong, it's so finite. I don't have enough might in this optimistic world that I'm trying to build to deconstruct this world of self-fulfilling prophecies and negative Nancy narratives and all the things. And what I now have to do, since I now recognize that, I feel like solve for me to focus now building a world of inquisition, a world of curiosity, a world of encouragement, confidence, amplification, all the things that I need to step forward into self-actualization. I have to build that. And I feel like I have to build that in order for me to overpower this self-fulfilling prophecy world. But then there's a part of me that feels like I have to pull it apart. Like, I need to have a tower moment with that world. Like, the world needs to crumble, and from the rubble and from the ashes, then I can build a new world in the affirmative and not the adverse. Shout out to me, because this is longer than what I thought it was going to be. But I think that's the starting point to determine if, while I am deconstructing the self-fulfilling prophecy world, that I simultaneously build the world of optimism, because I can't operate in resistance with myself. I have to be aligned. And I know that the self-fulfilling prophecy world is not in alignment with who I am. It's a trauma response, I think, or it's trauma based. There's trauma embedded in there. There's also things I just told myself that just don't exist. And until I really unpack that with my therapist, I'm not going to really understand why. And maybe it's not meant for me to understand why, but I feel like I need to understand the why so that I don't recreate. How do I get myself to pivot from that and switch the default? Like, the self-fulfilling prophecy browser is my default browser and not the optimism browser. Like, it's like you have two browsers up, because I have Chrome and I have Firefox up. And Chrome is the self-fulfilling prophecy one, because that's the one that I use the most, because I got Google Workspace and all the things. And Firefox, which is the one that I should be using because of all the safety parameters and things, is what I use when I need to go on certain apps, or when I'm tired of Google Chrome, or when I have something saved there that's not on Chrome. So I'm toggling between two browsers. The browser that I need to use, I don't, because I built this world and I don't know how to decondition myself from that. And I have told myself that it is a lot of work to not just decondition myself, but move certain things to the other browser and now build this new world space in the browser that I need to be in. Well, I hope that analogy helps somebody, because it brought me some, yeah. I'm in my yapping right there. But that's my start point to figure out my why and to work through building this new world and a new browser and deconditioning the old, giving myself a new. That's my start point. And if this resonates with you, I hope that becomes your start point as well. Ciao. Thank you for tapping into the Muses Lab podcast. And until we meet again. Thank you for tapping into the Muses Lab. I hope you enjoyed this week's adventure. Be sure to like this episode, subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, and share the wealth with others. Sign up for my newsletter and join the TML community at www.themuseslab.com. Receive weekly musings, early access and exclusive drops, as well as discounts on products and services. Thank you once again for tapping in, and until next time.